Spider-Man passed his driving test in his first attempt. It's probably because he's a great parallel parker. Welcome to today's Comic Book Editions video. It's another spectacular spider haul that I have to share. I'm glad that you're here for it. I started doing these spectacular spider haul videos way back in Comic Book Editions volume 125, and I've been showcasing issues from volume 1 of Peter Parker the Spectacular Spider-Man. I'm trying to collect the run up through issue 126. And in today's video, I'm going to share comic books published between 1981 and 1986 with you. So let's get started. It would have cost you 3 big quarters back in 1981 when issue number 60 was released. It's got this almost poster-worthy cover from Frank Miller. I'm not sure why this is a double-sized issue. I don't recall it being some type of a Spider-Man anniversary or anything, but there's 2 stories included. I should note too that Roger Stern wrote this issue and Ed Hannigan did the interior art for the book. So 2 stories inside. The first one, called Beatlemania, continues the current storyline in the regular ongoing title, Spider-Man fighting the Beetle in the first story. The second story is a retelling of Amazing Fantasy number 15, his origin. It's not a straight up reprint. It's redrawn and everything, and they've updated a few things, including the clothes that people are wearing and some of the cars in the background. Maybe the biggest difference between the update and the original AF-15 is the fact that they say that Peter designed his Spider-Man outfit and his web shooters in school instead of at home like the original said. I've been looking for this issue in the wild for quite some time, and it always seemed to have eluded me, but I just recently found it, and the store I found it at had several copies of it, so I was able to choose what condition I wanted to have for my collection. It's here now, and that's exactly what counts. A year later, 1982, is where we head for issue number 66. Bill Mantlo, the writer, Ed Hannigan is the artist, including cover artist, and this is such a cool cover of Electro fighting Spider-Man in Times Square. Of course, we have all of the lights around Times Square. We have Marvel taking the opportunity to promote Epic Illustrated, one of their titles, that was a newer title at that time, as if the two were standing on a lighted display for that. Electro escapes prison. He's more powerful than ever, but Spider-Man doesn't know that and almost gets electrocuted in the process of battling him the first time. As a matter of fact, J. Jonah Jameson witnesses it and thinks that Spider-Man is dead and publishes that headline. Of course, he ends up being wrong. A continuing storyline, too, is the fact that Peter's had to ditch some plans that he had in his personal life, and now his personal life is just going down the drain because of his success as Spider-Man. So that's a continuing storyline with this. Adding this issue into my collection was a big boost because it gave me issues 1 through 97 consecutively in my collection now. Like I said, I'm trying to go to 126, but getting this one got me the first 97 consecutive issues before I have a break in what I needed. Up next is an anniversary issue. This one's from 1984. Al Milgrom is the artist and writer, including cover artist, for issue number 100. So a few issues before this, there was a storyline that began with Black Cat going to Kingpin and asking him to provide her real powers, which he does. Spider-Man didn't know about it at the time. He kind of finds out. Everything kind of comes to a head, a culmination in this storyline, and Peter Parker and Black Cat end up breaking up in this issue. I think for the sheer fact of it being an anniversary issue made it a little bit harder to find out in the wild, and even on some online shops. This one always kind of seemed to be sold out too. It's a little bit pricier. Most of these spectacular Spider-Man comic books aren't too bad on the budget, but this one's a little bit higher priced. There's also the continuation of this new villain they introduced. I think his name was Spot. Very great visual character, to say the least, an interesting character here. So all of the culmination of, like I said before, of everything that was going on kind of comes to a point in this issue. Another one that is a minor key in this title is issue number 107. We're now at 1985. Rich Buckler did this cover, and he also did the interior art. Peter David was the writer on the title at this point. It's a mini key for the death of Jean DeWolf. Of course, she wouldn't stay dead all that long because in Clone Conspiracy issue number 2, she actually comes back to life. But Captain Jean DeWolf gets killed in this issue. It begins a 4-issue story arc that also includes Daredevil guest starring. And if I remember correctly from reading this, Daredevil's origin is briefly recapped inside this issue as well. Of course, we see that we got PD back in the black suit here on the cover too. Sometimes around this time he would be in the black suit and sometimes he wouldn't. This one I was happy to get into the collection. I had the 3 other parts of that storyline and they were so good, and I'm like, I've got to get the beginning, which I did. I know it's been a while since I gave you an update on how this Spectacular Spider-Man collection has been growing. I think it was Comic Book Editions Volume 195 was the last time I updated you. And I said, oh, I have a few more to show you, which I hope to do in the, next month. Well, that's been several months ago. But hey, at least I got this update in during 2024. Kind of barely, because we're getting to the end of it, but the update is here. This one I recently picked up. It's issue 115. Rich Buckler doing the cover. Mark Beecham doing the interior art. Peter David's still the writer. We're at 1986 for this title. We have Doctor Strange guest starring. So Peter kind of wonders if he really has some type of bad luck spell or something on his soul. And he goes to Doctor Strange to try to find the answer, which the answer is yes, he does. Awesome cover too. So very good issue to have in the collection. And I got a good price on this one too. And then finally, one more I wanted to show you in the Spectacular Spider Haul for this time around is issue number 118. 1986 is where we're ending. Rich Buckler doing the artwork on this, including the cover. Mike Zeck was the writer for this issue. So there is this young boy who is mistaken to be a mutant. He isn't. He ends up getting hunted by S.H.I.E.L.D. and Spider-Man's trying to protect him at the same time too and figure out exactly what's going on. Pretty much just a 1-issue storyline, and that's something that I really like about this title. While there are some storylines that last several issues, there's other just one-off issues where if you only pick up that issue, you can really follow the whole storyline. Sure, they might reference something from a previous issue or set something up into another issue. But overall, like I said, if you just have the one issue, you're not that far behind. So with the addition of these 6 back issues of the Spectacular Spider-Man collection into my personal collection, I'm doing really good in terms of the amount of books that I need. So here's what's left of what I need for this run. Not too bad. I got to start working on the annuals. Sometimes I forget about looking for the annuals, but as I go into 2025, knocking some more off of this list will be my goal. I don't think I have a plan to go really beyond issue number 126 or so, or at least not until I've collected everything up until that point. At least that's my plan right now. What did you think about the books that I shared? I would love to know if you'd leave me a comment, as they're welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. Make my spider sense go berserk by subscribing. I would love a subscription if you're not subscribed to my channel already. If you've already been a subscriber or are a newer subscriber rather, thank you so much for coming back to watch today's video. Sharing this video or the channel with a friend that might be interested is a great way to show support, and the algorithm loves it when you give the video a thumbs up, a heart, a like. Speaking of Spider-Man, not that long ago when I did my back issue of the week YouTube short number 150, I featured an amazing Spider-Man title. Issue 150, as a matter of fact. 150 for the 150th back issue of the week. So spend 60 spider seconds to check that one out. And don't forget, I have a current back issue of the week YouTube short already on my channel that just dropped yesterday morning. There's Fanboys Live in the Retro Review, the greatest DC comic show on YouTube, Sunday nights at 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Central. You'll want to catch that with special guest Signature King. There we go for today's Spectacular Spider Haul. Thanks for making it to the end of today's video. Have a fantastic rest of your week.